Hi friends, welcome to Codefidence, a channel for you to learn coding with confidence. My name is Binu and today we are going to learn basic data types in Python. A data type is a set of possible values and a set of allowed operations on those values. A data type tells the language processor, that is compiler or interpreter, how the programmer intends to use the data. Common data types supported by most of the languages are integer, floating point or real number, string, and boolean. Every data in Python is considered as an object which has its own data and behaviors. Python supports 5 basic primitive or built-in data types as integers, floating point numbers, complex numbers, strings, and boolean. Python also supports a none type, which is the type of an object that stores nothing. All other data types are built on these fundamental types. An integer is a whole number without a decimal point. An integer number can be positive, negative, or 0. Integers have unlimited length in Python, and the only limit is the size of available memory. Examples of integers are 10, 0, minus 25, 100 billion. Python supports a float type which represents the floating point number. Float can be used to store real numbers where a decimal point divides the integer and fractional parts and has a precision of 16 digits. Examples of floating point numbers are 3.14, 2.71828, minus 35.75, 0.000001. A complex number is represented as the combination of a real number and an imaginary number in the form x plus iy, where x and y are real numbers and I is the imaginary unit. In Python, a complex number is represented as x plus yj, where j denotes the imaginary unit. You can do arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division on complex numbers. Examples of complex numbers are 2 plus 3j, 5 minus 4.005j. A string is a sequence of characters, and a character can be any symbol like a letter, a space, a digit, a punctuation mark, etc. Python creates a string using Unicode characters, which can include every character in all languages. In Python, strings can be created by enclosing the characters in the quotes. We can use either single or double quotes. Examples of strings are welcome, programming language, share of 57%. Boolean type can be used to represent the truth value of an expression, which is either true or false. Boolean type can be used to evaluate conditional expressions where the condition either becomes true or false. A Boolean value can be of two types only, that is either true or false. So we will start with the numeric data types: integer, floating point, and complex numbers. Open Genie editor. Save the file by using File Save As option or by using Ctrl S shortcut. Locate and open Python lab folder or the folder you created to store the code files. Then type in the file name, say numeric types .py, and click on save button or just press enter. Let us add a comment first. Then create a new variable i1 and assign the value 10. Add a print statement to print the value of i1. Now run the program using shortcut F5. And you can see the result. To print the type of a variable, we can use the type function. Run the program again. And you can see the type of variable I1 as class int, which means I1 is an object of int class. We will learn more about classes and objects later in this series. Let us add some more variables here and print their values as well. Now we can copy paste these two lines using a single shortcut. For that, select parts of both the statements and press the shortcut Ctrl D, which will create a duplicate copy of the selected lines just below the lines. Here I2 is assigned a negative value and I3 is assigned the value 0. We can also use the function int to create integer variables. Run the program and see the changes. When we call the int function without argument, it will return 0. That is why I5 is assigned with the value 0. We can pass an integer number, a floating point number or a string containing digits as argument to the int function. This is demonstrated in the case of variables I6, I7 and I8. When a floating point number is passed as argument, int will truncate the number and just return the whole part only. We have already seen the use of int function to convert a string of digits to an integer in the previous videos. Now I will add code to demonstrate various ways of assigning floating point numbers to variables. The variables f1 through f4 are assigned with the floating point numbers and the type name is displayed as class float. We can use the function float to create floating point variables as follows. Save and run the program. So the float function is working as well. Now add a print function without arguments, which will add a blank line on the screen between integer and floating point number output sections. Such blank lines are helpful to make the output more clear. We can add blank lines between sections of code in our code files too. You can see the blank line between integer and floating point number output sections. Finally, in this program, we will see using variables to store complex numbers. First, we will add another blank line. Now create some variables and assign complex numbers. Your C1 is just assigned an imaginary number without real number part. Also look at the type of the variable, which is class complex. Add more variables here. Let us run the program again. You can see the variables are assigned with complex numbers. The class complex also supports a complex function which can be used for creating variables with complex numbers. Again, run the program. All the variables C5 through C8 are now created and assigned with complex numbers. Let us close this program and create a new file to see the working of string and boolean variables. To close the active code file, you can use the shortcut Ctrl W. Now create a new file with shortcut Ctrl N and save with name string and boolean.py. Let us add the code lines first and then explain the working. Now save and run the program. Here S1 is assigned with the text hello and the type of S1 is class str. We can store any characters as part of a string when using str function without argument or just with an empty pair of quotes, as in the case of S3. It is called an empty string. Now we will add some variables and store Boolean values to them. Run the program again. The type of a Boolean variable is class bool, and a Boolean variable can store either true or false. Care should be taken that the first letter of true and false are always true in Python. If the argument of bool function is not false or empty, it will return the value true. We will see more about how to use variables of these basic data types in the coming videos. So thanks for watching. Share your thoughts and suggestions in the comment section. Like and share the video, and also subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video. Have a nice day.